Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Hello everyone. The main focus of this episode is not the person speaking, but rather what this person has been fascinated by. So welcome and let's begin. Tonight, to be honest, I feel just like a bird that just wants to fly into the sky. And so, for this episode, I have written, Time Gives Levels to Divinity. And as a human being who might put this art form away, I would like to, while using it, explain. Alright. By design, I am designed to communicate. As a human being, communication is an access to levels of reality. Now, I am giving this lecture saying that time gives levels to divinity, but we are living on a planet where people do not even consider the potential of a transcendental agency in the world. You see, dear humanity, I want you to pay attention to life. I want you to realize that every one of you has, in some sense, opened their eyes within a humanized program, okay? What our community, what our people are doing, they are in some sense trying to continue the greatest story they know. To be honest, it's a bit savage, but the savageness of reality has always been there. It is the effort of man that ushers in a new world to walk in, the world of the civilized. But man cannot be civilized on his own. Just like, for example, a dog cannot train itself in higher behavior. Man cannot do this alone. But man is not alone. And the condition of this world will fascinate you. You know, right now I'm going to ask you a question, a hilarious question. Just take in what I'm going to ask you here, okay? If I ask you right now what is going on this planet, is it not the case? Is it not the case that if you were asked, what's going on, you would in some sense relay a sequence of events? Dear humanity, I am not just speaking to you as a human being. What is going on here is in some sense an event, and this event is being perceived from multiple angles. There is a story. I am not Buddhist, I am Muslim. I am a religious person. Not in the sense of I am religious in the sense that I acknowledge that there is an original power to this world present. And I do not consider that we're all God, like everything's oneness. To me, that stuff was distractions. I felt it, but I, gave into it just because I thought the ancient yogis knew what they were talking about. But in reality, this human life is not about survival. It's not even about self-realization. Because the self cannot be realized, at least if you were religious. If you're a Muslim, if you, let's say, you go to try to realize yourself, in the effort you would come across the holy passage that the soul is the secret of God. What that means, all right, let's try this on. I feel a unique emotion tonight when I'm giving this talk. I don't know what it is, but it feels like, you know the light of the world is not silent. My fellow human beings, it is 2024. I was born in 91. I am 32. I'm also a smoker, so I don't know how long I'll be here. But I will tell you, fellow human beings, fellow creatures in this world, do not fear anything in the world. But there is something you must fear. And this fear surpasses all fears. That means if they gave you the option in your lifetime to fear 1,000 infinite things or to fear one single thing, which one would you choose? And so the great human task, and this was something that I couldn't understand when I was the focus of reality. Ladies and gentlemen, you're not going to realize it. You're going to think like I'm some strange guy talking. But right now, I am outside of this window, behind this room you're in. And I am in some sense telling you, I am telling you, you are within a very complex process of self-worship. You don't realize it. None of you do. At least all I can do is share my findings in the presence of the Almighty. First of all, in 32 years of life on this planet, how I have, even as a human being, reached a state of perception to even say that time gives levels to divinity. It is because, my fellow humanity, I played the game. I played this game, and I will explain to you this game. Even though it's not absolute, God knows what I will never. But I, as a member in this human existential system, will communicate, will utilize why the system exists. You might think that life is waiting for you to become the perfect image of yourself, but you don't understand. Time has a different agenda. This world is a massive administration process. I don't know how to explain it to you, but the closest metaphor I have found is that it's a video game. And I'm going to explain to you how it's a video game. It's a video game not in a sense of a 2D pixelated screen, but a 3-dimensional elemental reality. So I have gone through the path. I've pretty much, like, when you climb a mountain, you get to understand how many different ways you can climb it. 8 billion human beings. What will happen? Where will we go? What is our legacy? How will the future be born? Dear humanity, hear the music of your world. Understand that the conductor is smiling. And do not fear anything in the world. Do not be stupid, but do not fear anything in the world. Only fear that which moves it all. One of the most powerful things I've ever seen online was this this villager religious man, and they told him some like scary conspiracies of the future, of what will happen in the future, and this guy was just like this simple-minded religious villager guy, and he just looked at everyone and he's like, do not fear, there is God up there. And that statement was so profound. You think you are alone. You think that you need the most advanced technology. You think you need something from this world. But what you need is you need something from the owner. And that is the nature of this world. It is very hard to believe. It's not actually if you actually consider it properly. So, in the presence of the one and only original power, and in the presence of all powerful simulated, within the simulation, all powerful simulated moderators on Earth, and all the members, and even all the noobs and the NPCs, I will communicate to all of you, not as an ambassador or a representative of the human species. I will communicate to all worlds in the presence of the Almighty as a simple man. And in my simplicity, I have found that we are not human beings. We are not even a species. We are forces at work. Do you understand? You're not a human being. You are the forces that are allowing all to be. What that means is you are not God. The artwork is never the artist. But this artwork has woken up. And this artwork is like, wait a minute, how can I notice the artist? And that is the permission of the artist. You see, what they did not explain to you is that we opened our eyes not on a rock in the middle of nowhere. I made that mistake. We all have opened our eyes in the house of an uncaused being. That's where I'm giving this talk. We are in the home of the original world. Do you know what I expect from the performance of the human species? Oh, whoever that may hear this lecture, I have no idea what will happen. It's all based on divine decree. It's not even fear, sorrow, depression, stress anymore. I will tell you guys, honestly, guys, there's a different way human beings can be alive. Okay, they don't have to be, doesn't have to be a constant physical, and objective and subjective self-obsession. Once you see that yourself is in the world, others are in the world, and the world is limited, then you will wonder about the limitless, and you will try to make yourself limitless. It's not going to work. You're going to try to follow others to be limitless. It's not going to work. I want you to imagine all the different places you have gone on this earth from the beginning of your life. All the steps you have taken in this lifetime. Do you realize you cannot catch up with infinity? Do you realize that you did not create this world? Do you realize that that it is not possible for an object to own a subject? Ladies and gentlemen, am I saying something too far off? Am I saying something so far-fetched that from the beginning of our lives, from the moment we were born, we have been experiencing our bodies change, and we have been experiencing our ideas and our understanding and our experience of reality change? So in some sense, how can we identify as an individual? We're constantly changing, right? So it's a level of ignorance, individualism. Individualism is kind of like when you don't look at the details. When you look at the details, you discover what you thought was individualism was an opportunity in the world. It's just that we're just changing quicker somehow. It's as if the soul is faster than the world. And it's so fast that the mind, by having access to the soul in its decision making, in some sense, is faster than the world. You know, what I want to tell my beloved species is this. You know, I've realized that this whole time I've been speaking to my impression of the human audience, but because I don't know who any of you are, and somehow it's cool that we're all stationed on the same planet. In the sense, it's even more cooler that we're not just objects, because we have the capacity of consciously living as a character in a story. It's even more fascinating because this character in the story has to decide, and in the decision between who you are, what is realizing what it is not something that is. It's not even spiritual. Spirituality becomes meaningless when the king enters the presence of the peasants. When the peasant is like the king enters the room. You see, religion is about those who understand that there is a hierarchy in this world. Spirituality is for all those people who are still trying to be God. There is no such thing as spirituality. It is the ignorance of a world in disguise. Let me say it like this. If somebody asked, if like somebody, let's say an extraterrestrial landed right now or something, and they asked like, yo, what is this human life? I'll be like, pretty much, it's this video game that has 3 levels, right? Most people just get to level 1 and 2. In the lifetime, as the person lives, they do tap into moments where there's level 3, but level 3 is pretty much the realization that if you thought your body is here to survive, and if you thought your mind is here to serve the world, you're going to realize the soul is its interest is not just in the worldly. The soul is here to see if it can acknowledge the higher intelligent interaction. Do you understand? The greatest thing you can get in this life is not money. It's not an object. It's not even subjective praise. The greatest thing you can get... Sorry guys, I gotta answer this. Alright guys, I gotta head out in 10 minutes. But let me just wrap this up. But let me just wrap this up. All right. So, guys, I gotta speed this up. In this video game, level 3 is the realization that you're not on this planet to know yourself or explore the world. per se. You're in here, yeah, and like all of us, all the other souls here, to see if you can notice, if you can find the clues in the world, and the clues in the world all point to the initial coder. So the system administrator is the one and only uncaused God. And so the uncaused is the cause of causality. So therefore all creatures within a causal world, hear me now, we are all returning to the uncaused, but it is not to our own will, which makes it cool, in the sense that this world, just being alive, is a roller coaster ride, and yet you don't control it, all of it. You know, I'll say it this way. Science is for those people who need glasses. Philosophy is for those people who need confidence. Spirituality is for those people who are alone. Religion is for those who want the original. Okay? If you consider that God is uncaused but everything else is caused, then in some sense what we're understanding here is this, that the members, all the souls in the world, they are in a simulation, and all the moderators, let's say angels, they in some sense are also in a world. Like, how can I tell you? Like, it's a religion is when you realize life is a simulation, and the key to the door is not knowledge or a freaking equation you can write on paper, but the key to the door of this lifetime is intelligence. But not intelligence in analysis, intelligent interaction. So I'll give you an example. Somebody petting a dog, that's a level of intelligent interaction. Human beings hugging each other, level of intelligent interaction. A human being contacting an alien, a certain higher level of intelligent interaction. And a human being contacting a malevolent being, you know, that's a lower level of intelligent interaction. A person trying to go to the origin, trying to find, put its attention on the creator, try to enter the royalty of divine administration, not in the sense of, yo, my ideas were cool and so I believe them. No, in the sense that you will realize the limitation of your body, which is death, and you're going to realize the limitation of your mind. So the body has to deal with non-existence. The mind has to deal with what it has to choose from infinity. You know, there's a kind of despair that nobody knows, right? Like, I should probably like write this on my dating profile or something, you know. A type of despair where the person's like, out of all the infinite viewpoints and all the angles of perception that exist in the world, which one is correct? Do you see the challenge? So when I say time gives levels to divinity, the initial image, so I'm a visual thinker, you should know this by now, you know, the imagery that initially made me say this was that I was like, yo, divinity has something to do with time. Let me explain. From a religious angle, it's as if man is being tested. The test is divine. The test is human beings in time. The world has an expiration date. So time is giving a level to divinity. That means while you're in time, like, that's a level. Now, when it comes to the psychological ability of the human being, right? The psychological ability of the human being is to like try, it's, for example, you recollecting memories in your past where some sort of background administrative force in this world made things happen, somehow go forth accordingly. I'm trying to say that as a human being, like, usually we're conditioned to be like past, present, future, okay? And divinity, because God is uncaused, is like a timeless parallel of where power can move, original power. So to me, all beings in the world, let's say some being comes to me, says I'm the greatest being, says, like, shows off to me and says I'm the most powerful being, I'll be like, it doesn't matter. In the world, you're simulated. It's simulated power. It's not real power. Real power is not violent. It's not, and it's not like control, like you're trying to like leash something and thinking like, yo man, I got 100 leashes in my hand, I'm powerful. No, you're enslaved by your ignorance. Ironically. So really what I'm trying to say, the true power is to understand why the game is being played. And when you treat it as a game, suddenly all web developers will smile, video game developers would smile here. Why? Ladies and gentlemen, time gives life levels because our individualism is like a lens. And it's like you can multiply, divide, add, and subtract yourself. Okay, you can behind your eyes multiply yourself, behind your eyes you can divide yourself. Sometimes when I'm angry, I don't need like a boxing bag, what I need is, in some sense, I just close my eyes, and just like how, let's say, Superman or like the Hulk and Iron Man were fighting, or Thor, like, and Loki or something, like with that same intensity, I visualize a version, like a wiser version of myself, like throwing myself into buildings, like the more foolish version of myself. So what I'm trying to say is that you're an object, you're a subject, you're an unknown watcher. The unknown watcher is known by God. You are a creation, you're in the created level. God is in the creator level. Human beings are advised not to go to the moderators. No offense to the moderators, I saluted them at some point, but right now I'm telling all human beings should be piloted directly to the system administrator of this existential system. What I'm trying to say is that, here, I'll give you a story that I don't believe in anymore. So in 2023, I would share this story of Buddha, and I don't believe in like Buddhism anymore. The Buddha was a peaceful dude, but truth is more than just self-dissolution. So anyways, the Buddha had this story where people came up to Buddha and they're like, yo, Buddha, you're enlightened. You remember all your past lives. We're tired after work. Tell us stories. And Buddha's like, I'll tell you the story of the life I had before this lifetime where I became Siddhartha or whatever, right? And so they're like, yeah, Buddha, tell us that story, right? Yo, you're like, can you believe people would tell past life stories back in the day? Like, that shit was normal. It's like, yeah, man, I was like, I was there when Adi Yogi, told his first joke. But guys, I don't believe in past lives anymore. Everything to me is divine decree. The system administrator it has a magnificence that no spiritual method, no, like I'm telling you, spirituality is a hidden self-worship. And because it's self-worship, the only way to be spiritual and be in this world and to feel good is, in some sense, to nullify yourself so you don't feel bad that you're doing something wrong. I, for a decade, had a mindset, and I was like, yo, man, why isn't life like responding to my efforts? And I realized I was ignoring the fact that I had divided up the power source of this world by considering multidimensionality was cooler than the singularity. So what I'm trying to tell you is that ultimately, like whatever you hear or not, like you're an energetic being, your energy. Now, the question I'm proposing to you is that as an energetic being, just like how you like there's some weird stuff happening, okay? It's too much like a video game. You go to sleep, you like the body is, let's say you have a fear of the body dying, but then we go to sleep and the ego vanishes and we're like, yeah, a good night's rest. And then we wake up with the past checkpoint. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's too strange to not consider higher design. So, ladies and gentlemen, this world is like a lobby, and the original world is the hotel room. And we're in the lobby, like, where's my bed? I'm tired. And the person's like, yo, man, you can't sleep in the lobby. Just go to your room. So what that room is humanity, you as souls, access the original power by establishing a direct relationship with the system administrator. All right, guys, I gotta head out. This is the end of the talk. Thanks for listening. Sorry, guys, I gotta head out. Some like my friends here. This is what I was gonna say. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of God, the most benevolent, the most merciful. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. All praise due to the Lord of the worlds. Even in that sentence, all praise due to the all praise due to the Lord of the worlds. It is a suggestion that the original power of the uncaused, in some sense, created many worlds. That in some sense, not only we are not alone, but all worlds are arising from the same original source. So we are way more united in ways of instantaneity than in ways of fragmented, kind of broken characters and broken stories. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I advise you. Immediately just wonder if this world has a system administrator, as if you're not just born in some random place that it was okay for the species to name and tell its own story, but rather where we are exactly is a place that there is levels of intelligence. These levels of intelligence are not just, that means that with the species, the future generations are gonna look at us and they're gonna be like, in 2024, people thought they're lucky, unlucky. How foolish. Excuse me, not how foolish, how humorous, right? Because in some sense, that's an ignorance that there is a system admin. That means if you teleported in your friend's house, you can't act like it's your house. You have teleported into a world. Right? So once you realize there is a higher power, it's not about whether it is here or not. We're like, okay, what's the interaction? And the interaction is so beautiful because it's so pure. The portal that takes one closer, I find, to the original world, the original power, the original God, is simply this. It is to realize that you are a limited being, and God is the original, the ultimate. The ultimate knows what you do not. In some sense, submit your future expectations, have faith, and you will be surprised. Thank you. Good night.